Book 7 will arrive shortly, and we have our opening banner to celebrate. To kick things off, we have a Fate's Kids banner featuring Dwyer, Caeldori, Rearmed Ophelia, and our new Book 7 hero, Seithr. You can earn Seithr for free by doing the main story. We'll talk about all our unit stats and skills, plus discuss some general playstyle and build ideas. Before we get to the banner units, first let's talk about Kiragi, who will be an instant demote. He will not be summonable immediately, you're going to have to wait till this banner is over, then he'll join the 3 to 4 star pool. However, as part of the celebration event, you can earn 2 5-star copies of Kiragi by completing some quests. Kiragi is the son of Takumi and is actually quite an impressive demote. I would be on the watch for him in the future. As a unit, he's a colorless archer with 40 HP, 38 attack, 43 speed, 37 defense, and 23 res. He has super boons in attack, speed, and resistance. Very nice stuff, and even among 5-star archers, Kiragi is just one of the faster ones and has some of the highest defense options out there. 37 defense is very high, but he sacrifices resistance to get there. If you're looking for a merge project among colorless archers, it's tough to be young Innis thanks to his unique bow. However, Norn is another good option if you wanted a more scrappy archer. She has a good balance of defense and res compared to Kiragi's defense focus. In terms of ult skills, Kiragi has some okay fodder, but nothing too crazy. He has Luna as his special and Drive Speed 2 for support. He then brings Swift Sprout 2, which is nice, but you're going to need to 5-star him for that one. Kiragi will bring an inheritable weapon called the Unbound Bow Plus. It has 12 might, and if unit is not adjacent to an ally, inflict -5 speed and defense on the foe, and neutralize their speed and defense field buffs. Unbound Bow Plus is actually the same weapon as Pirate Bridget's Helm Bow Plus, and unlike the other Unbound weapons, it does not have a stronger low attack and defense effect. Instead, it's a more offensive option with a better low speed and defense, and you're going to need to be solo. Not a bad option for bow camps or flyers to combo with Far Trace. Pretty solid inheritable weapon that just got easier to get. You won't have to spend 6,000 divine codes to get Pirate Bridget in the shop. For playstyle and builds, Kiragi can definitely run any offensive setup. He has a lot of options as an infantry archer, but with Unbound Bow, you can simply run solo skills. 10 speed solo is great, and with his higher defense, I do think you can get away with full attack and speed stacking. Desperation is a basic Busco option, and you can also just replace Drive Speed with Rouse Attack and Speed 3. That will be available on our next Grand Hero battle option if you really want it for a solo build. If you want to deal with slower tanks, then no follow-up is very good, and you could opt for more defense stacking to brawl with distant counter units. If the solo playstyle isn't what you want, you could swap over to the Corbo Plus from Summer Joshua. He's in the Divine Code shop as well, and this is just a rain, speed and defense bow, no low effect. Another strong inheritable bow is the White Cat Bow Plus, and right on time, this update is also when Summer Alencia is returning as an Ephemeral Comet manual. White Cat Bow boosts attack and speed and can get brave attacks if you outspeed by 10 or more. Kiragi is in an excellent spot to use this weapon, and the Ninja Yumi Brave Bow was also back with Shinon for summoning. Speaking of ninjas, Seal Defense 4 with this Brave Bows can be quite strong. The guard effect could also be quite good with Kiragi's higher defense to have safer initiations. If you want special cooldown, Time's Pulse, Flash and Blade are the new special Spiral 4 are all fun stuff. Deadeye lets Kiragi pierce damage reduction skills as well. If you would prefer to be more defensive, you could also just set up close counter like his dad. Reindeer Bow boosts attack and defense with guard and could be part of a full-on defense stacking setup. Overall, Kiragi is an excellent infantry archer demote, so grab those free copies and keep an eye out for once he's summonable. I could see some fun merger projects for him, and you can trend to either offense or more defense stacking builds. Good addition to the game. Let's now talk about the actual banner units. First up, Dwyer is the 4-star focus. You can get him at 4-star and 5-star rarity. Dwyer is Jacob's son and is an infantry healer. He has 40 HP, 37 attack, 35 speed, 25 defense, and 39 resistance. He has defense and res super boons. Dwyer has higher res than Nina by 1 point, but doesn't match your 40 plus speed. He's got an okay 35 speed, but if you wanted more attack, then Elise is the better option. With that said though, there's just not that much variety for healers without unique staffs. Getting a third one in a row is pretty disappointing if you were hoping for more interesting demotes to randomly summon on. At the very least, Dwyer has some interesting skills with them. He has Martyr Plus and Heavily Light for healing skills, but he will bring the attack and res variant for the Aether Raids defense skill. If you don't have any other premium skills for a defense unit, these aren't too bad, but your setup must protect your structures. If you can keep them alive, then +7 or +10 attack and res ain't bad, and it works on either phase. Dwyer's other passive is Speed Tactic 3. First time it enters the demote summoning pool, and the only other option is on New Year's Air if you want to be free to play. Dwyer's inheritable staff is going to be the Aid Plus. 12 might, and every turn you heal 10 HP to the ally that has been dealt the most damage, excluding the user. This is not a new weapon, it's just Crusader Nana's staff at 12+, and she is a heroic route option. These staves have the same effect as Air Sparkling Boost, and provides constant healing over longer fights. You can pair it with the even or odd recovery skills that may be granted really hurt ally 30 HP in a turn. You don't even have to be healing them. 8+ will heal from anywhere on the map as well. Nina and Elish just got introduced, and Dwyer does not exactly really have anything new to utilize. He has high res to use res based skills like Sabotage or Ploys, but other than that, we're just adding another infantry healer demote to the pool. If you do run Sabotage or Ploy skills, you should use flat res boosters like Forge Defense Res or the premium Still Water if you want it. Dwyer could be a very passive support with things like the new tier 3 dual chills, and you got the Sacred Seal variants too. If healing isn't a big concern, you could use the Respite Plus staff to provide AoE guard for your team. Dwyer could also try to fight with weapons like the Palm Staff. He isn't that slow, so you could try to bump that up to not get doubled. For fun, healers can run the Finish 4 A skills, and they you can pre-charge bomb specials every turn with Time's Pulse. Probably not the best use of such rare fodder. If you did just want to hunker down, maybe stack defense with that super boon, you could also just use Quick Repulse 4. It's very expensive, but it gives your healers a damage reduction option. Overall, Dwyer can basically run whatever Elise or Nina can, and it's just up to who you really want to use, if any. It really feels like healers just need more ways to affect the battle besides having Wrath or a Dazzling Staff. I'd like to see some other special options, or maybe just some other unique healer support passes. Maybe the Engage healers can just teach everyone how to punch people. Our next unit is Caeldori, Tsubaki's daughter. She is a lance flyer with 39 HP, 40 attack, 44 speed, 30 defense, and 31 resistance. They should have shifted that 1 res to HP for a very satisfying stat spread. Now, Caeldori will have an attack super boom, definitely nothing wrong with that. Base stat wise, she has one of the highest speed for lance flyers, and 40 attack is actually pretty high as well. Her 30 base defensive res is also very balanced and fits with her weapon. If you like units who can kind of just do decent into anyone, then Caeldori might be for you. For old skills, we got Draconic Aura as her special. She then brings attack and speed catch 4 for big stat bonuses. The Prodigy Polearm will test if you're smart enough to even understand it. This 16 might lance accelerate specials, and if above 25% HP, grants +5 to all stats and has full no follow-up effects. That's all good stuff. Now for the confusing part. Reduce foes attack and defense by X% of Caeldori's speed at start of combat. X is equal to 5 times the number of Caldori's stats that are no more than 5 higher than the foes at start of combat. You then add a base 10% to that value. First off, this just means you inflict attack and defense debuffs on the foe. The value scales with Caldori's flat speed stat and can range from 10% to 35%. For example, 10% of 44 base speed is -4 attack and defense. 35% of 44 is -15 attack and defense. That is a hefty debuff. With the base +5 to all stats, that would almost just be like +20 to everything but speed. Now, to make sense of how we get there, we are stat checking all 5 stats, including max HP values. I believe this effect is supposed to mirror her personal skill, where if the enemy is stronger, she just gets more bonus damage. The idea is the same here, but for the sake of gameplay, Caeldori gets a 5-point buffer. So, for example, let's say Caldori has 45 in every single stat. Against an enemy with 40 in every single stat, she has exactly 5 higher points. That meets the condition for the weapon for all 5 stat categories. 5 times 5 is 25, and you add +10 for the max 35%. So technically, in Fae, Caldori can have better stats and still win out. However, let's say she has 46 in every stat instead. In that scenario, you just lost every single check because you went over 5 higher. You're only going to end up with 10% of her speed as a debuff. Have fun trying to calculate all of this on the fly, but know these stat checks are only involving flat stats. Moving on, for inheritable passives, Caldori brings attack and speed hold, inflict -4 attack and speed on foes within 3 spaces. Hold skills are just the 3 space upgrades of range skills. The debuff value is the same, but you can debuff from farther away to help allies. For personal usage, Caldori stacks even more attack debuffs with her polearm. Despite the rather heavy calculation portion for Prodigy Polearm, Caldori is not that complicated as a unit. I would just treat it as evening the playing field if Caldori is facing a high statted enemy. In general, with accelerated specials, no follow-up, and a good balance of defense and res with high speed, Caldori is a solid all-arounder. Her base kit is very simple, more attack and speed from the catch skill, and attack and speed debuffs from hold. In the B slot, you can go with the usual near trace options to get Kanto. You don't even need flow skills thanks to a full no follow-up, but guard would be nice to have. You could access guard with seal defense for her, but then you will need defense debuffs for that one. If you don't have, or you don't want to worry about getting hit, then you can also just run Dive Bomb with no follow-up. Caldori is safe to double anything slower, and she can even proc a 2 cooldown special like Ruptured Sky on her second hit. You can also use Desperation, but Prodigy Porm has a 25% HP condition. You cannot go too low, or you're just going to lose the effects of the weapon. Now with 2 attack debuff sources, Caldori just improves her chances of using Heavy Blade. She'll have a 4 cooldown Gale Force and can double slower units, so that makes a pretty solid Gale Forcer. In fact, you can Dive Bomb and still proc Gale Force. If you want mobility, you got room for flyer mobility skills like Tempest skills or Oath 4 for warping and self buffs. If you can pick up an attack near trace, then you can also just stack -7 attack debuffs with the Hold C skill. Then both of those then stack with the attack debuffs from the Prodigy Porm. It's very possible Caldori is much tankier than she looks, and you could run skills like Surge Spell to heal all the way back up. All in all, very solid 5-star Lance Flyer. No follow-up is a great perk to have for any unit with high speed and balanced defenses. While Prodigy Porm is technically kind of complex, I would not worry about it too much. It's only there to help Caldori if she faces other strong enemies. Our next unit is Rearmed Ophelia, who has some very exciting skills. She may have been blocked from a refine, but Ophelia is back with even more Chuny energy, this time a red infantry mage. She has 39 HP, 44 attack, 36 speed, 25 defense, and 32 resistance. Ophelia has an attack super boon to no surprise, and a defense one as well. Like the OG Ophelia, you want as much attack as possible, so attack super boon, highly encouraged. For old skills, she has Luna to cut down high res foes. We got attack and res finish 4 for easy +7 attack and res stats, and another +5 true damage if your special is ready. Spoiler, it will be. Ophelia can also get some healing, and while her main focus is to just nuke things, this Ophelia is a bit more resilient than before, so maybe you could find some use out of it. For a C skill, we got Times Pulse for more special charging. While I personally am excited for an Ophelia ult, I'm also very happy that she has the Arcane Red Tome, Arcane Eclipse. So many red mages with no unique tomes finally have something exciting to pick up. Arcane Eclipse has 14 might, accelerated specials, and at the start of turn 1, you're going to get -1 cooldown. If you have more than 25% HP at the start of combat, you get +5 to all stats, a free follow-up attack, and you neutralize any attack debuffs. Ophelia may not get as much immediate special cooldown charges as Mistletoe, but she's still accelerated specials and has quick impulse to get a jump start. In exchange for less cooldown perks, you're going to get a lot more firepower. Free follow-up attack is great since she isn't the fastest unit out there, and with +5 to all stats, that's very nice. She has a decent amount of resistance with the Finish 4A skill. To help nuke things, you also neutralize attack debuffs. It's a good perk, you cannot slow Ophelia down. Holy cow. So while Ophelia uses Arcane Eclipse just fine, this thing is a godsend to a lot of other red mages. All of those slow ones get a free follow-up attack, everyone appreciates the more stats, and accelerated specials is common on 5-star unique tomes, but so nice to see on an inheritable one, and you get quick impulse too. This tome is offense oriented, but you can stat refine it for a little more HP defense or res if you just really want it. I am definitely slapping this bad boy on my nose immediately. The other incredible skill from Ophelia is going to be Special Spiral 4. Deals +5 true damage when your special triggers and neutralize any non-special % damage reduction skills. Unfortunately, doesn't work with AoE specials. You then got the classic Special Spiral effect of -2 cooldown after combat if your special activated. Essentially, the tier 4 of this skill is similar to Young Ennis's bow. Any special can pierce damage reduction now, and you're going to get bonus damage on top. Mages may not have gotten any special like Deadeye or Lethality, but this is the next best thing, and Ophelia with the Arcane Eclipse plays right into it perfectly. Damage reduction, especially dodge, has messed up a lot of one-shot type builds. Now, infantry units have a tool to get around that to secure those kills. It does take up the valuable B slot, so not everyone can abuse it, but it's a very good option. Do keep in mind, it does not help with defensive specials, so Hardy Fighter or Godlike Reflexes still an issue. While armor units can run Special Spiral 4, not sure how many are going to get to that. I did bring up Marth since he has Vanish with 2 hits thanks to his Refine, but he could also just go on and build that wants to one-shot with a Special Retaliation. Maybe someone like the Black Knight with Black Luna, that would be something. Before we discuss more, if you want to fodder Arcane Eclipse off, you're going to need Fenrir, which is on a lot of mages like Sophia or Mail Morgan. Unfortunately, it will be very tough to grab many other skills from Ophelia. Arcane Eclipse plus Special Spiral 4 is the big prize, but you would need Special Spiral 3 beforehand, and then you can't get another skill anyway. You could grab Time's Pulse in full, but Special Spiral 4 is really tempting here. In the future, if we get Attack and Res Finish 3, then you could also get Arcane Eclipse with Finish 4 plus Special Spiral 4. That still requires a lot of prereqs though. Now sadly, if you're not an infantry unit, you basically just get the Arcane Red Tome. That's pretty much it. Armors can nab Special Spiral 4, but there are only 2 red armored mages in the whole game. If you need Special Spiral 3, Lewin is in the Divine Code shop, Normal 1. To summon for it, you immediately have to try to get Ninja Male Corn. His rerun banner is gone in a day, but he is the 4-star focus, so you can try to hope and pray for him. Alright, so let's talk about Ophelia's gameplay, or just kit in general. Arcane Eclipse accelerates specials, so we got 2 cooldown Luna. Quicken Pulse and Time's Pulse immediately pre-charge it. Ophelia then obliterates some poor fool with Luna that pierces damage reduction skills, and you get plus 10 extra damage thanks to Finish 4 and Special Spiral 4. After combat, Luna just recharges and the spiral has begun. That's literally it. Just like any other pre-charged special abuser, stack as much attack as possible and let it rip. Now Ophelia does have some extra perks if you can't one-shot something. Arcane Eclipse has that free follow-up attack to bypass follow-up denial, and the question really is, can she get that second hit off while alive? That will be iffy into physical damage, but she has a decent amount of resistance with attack and res finish. Special retaliations would be an issue though. Sadly, while you can run non-special spiral skills like Lull, Tempo, or Desperation, you're going to lose the DR Piercing, which is really damn important nowadays. That is the entire crux of a one-shot build. If mages do get a damage reduction piercing special of their own, then you can branch out if you don't need to recharge immediately. If I were to change anything, it would be Time's Pulse. It's important to get the first special pre-charged, but it never is going to reactivate once we have Special Spiral. If you have other cooldown skills like Infantry Pulse or Lord Asker, you can then run Attack and Res Menace or Oath 4 for warping, even more damage potential. In the Sacred Seal slot, you could run Quicken Pulse again. Maybe you want to run 4 cooldown Astra or Dragon Fang. Since we seem to be getting more and more Vantage effects, Hardy Bearing also an option. Last but not least, outside of immediately pre-charging them, Rearmed Ophelia can just default back to the good old AoE effects special spam. You won't negate damage reduction on the AoE. Unfortunately, that would have been really strong. Do note, any high attack mage can run this build. You really just need more cooldown to immediately charge the AoE though. You also want double life and death, still water, or solid ground. You only care about flat attack increases with the AoE specials. Generally speaking, Rearmed Ophelia is an exciting unit for a lot of reasons. Arcane Red Tome is real, and it's not bad at all. You then got Special Spiral 4, which lets a lot more units pierce damage reduction. Ophelia will use both well, and her base kit is very fun too. Last up on the banner is our Book 7 free hero, Seithr. We'll get to know her more throughout the next year. Seithr is an Astro Mythic that boosts attack and is a green mage cavalier. She has 39 HP, 43 attack, 30 speed, 17 defense, and 40 resistance. She has an attack super boon, and Seithr can definitely deal some good damage. Pretty high base attack and res for a mage cav, but she has terrible defense that is going to get tanked even further. She has a little bit of speed, which could come in handy, but attack and res are the main focus. For old skills, Seithr has Iceberg and Stillwater 4, flat plus 7 attack and res, but minus 5 defense. A lot of units have been getting to utilize this skill this year. Seithr's weapon is herself, I guess. 14 might, accelerates specials, and at start of turn, if she is within 2 spaces of an ally, Seithr and those allies get a status that deny a follow-up attack. If Seithr initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, she gets plus 5 to all stats, she makes a free follow-up attack, and she gets true damage on hit equal to 20% of her res stat. This does work with AoE specials. Overall, very solid weapon, couple of similarities with the Arcane Tome. Seithr has quite a lot of firepower, especially if she can double. She may be able to cancel out enemy fall prevention, and she can block a follow-up attack herself. However, if she's hit by a physical unit, then I'm not sure she is surviving. As for Seithr's team, she does get everyone that follow-up denial status. That's never a bad thing in general content, but any good attacker would just blow right by that. As for Seithr's unique C skill, she has Future Focused. This is a very unique skill, and it's impossible to say just how good or bad it is at the moment. It's definitely a skill that requires some thinking. On odd turns, after the foe's start of turn skills trigger, for the closest foes in common directions, we do a res check with Seithr. If Seithr wins that res check, those enemies end their action immediately. This seems to function exactly like how it does in Aether raids. The unit is grayed out, but they can be refreshed by a dancer. Now, to disable an enemy, A, it has to be on an odd turn, B, Seithr has to be in line with them, and C, she needs to win a res check that is going to get harder the farther away she is. For every space away from the target, Seithr needs 3 more resistance. Ranged Cavaliers have an attack range of 5 spaces away. That would be 15 more res Seithr needs than the enemy. That is not easy at all. The res check is also with flat stats, so that's why still water is important. However, in Aether raids, there's also blessings which may become an issue. One thing to note is that this skill activates on the enemy phase, so technically Seithr can move closer, assuming the enemy is getting locked down. The main issue with that plan is that you're probably only stopping one enemy. Additionally, the enemy may get danced, which may actually screw you over if you don't plan out the AI moves. Future Focused could be strong, but we really need to see it in action. Luckily, everyone gets Seithr for free. To help with the res checking, Seithr comes with a chill attack and res 3. At start of turn, inflict -6 attack and res debuffs on the foe on the enemy team with the highest attack plus res total, and also spread that debuff to foes within 2 spaces. Another tier 3 dual chill is here. Seithr can obviously use those debuffs for extra damage, but it can also help Future Focused. Because Future Focused procs on the enemy phase, chill attack and res would have already debuffed the enemy. An issue is that you don't exactly control who gets hit though. You do get that wider debuff range, but it still depends. Generally speaking, Seithr is pretty good for a unit. We get a long range green mage cav who has a lot of damage perks plus a free follow-up attack. She accelerates specials, which is nice, and you get extra damage the more res you stack. Seithr also gets a follow-up prevention effect, and it's a team-wide status too. Not the craziest offensive cap out there, but totally fine for general maps and content. As for Future Focused, obviously not letting an enemy literally not play the game can be pretty powerful. However, you need to meet certain conditions, and you probably only hit one enemy. Seithr needs to upkeep her resistance, and if you stick too far back, then that res check just gets harder and harder. For some food for thought, perhaps this skill could be used aggressively. For example, if Seithr dive bombs into the enemy, she can maybe disable 2 or 3 in a line with her. The res check also gets easier the closer you are, and you can just stay safe from their attacks next turn. For Aether raids, this will be hard to do with the total number of enemies on the field. One way to get close could be with Wings of Mercy, but that requires an aggressive team already. Another thought is that maybe this can bait dancers to move the enemy and just shift the defense formation. That could be unpredictable though, especially if multiple dancers are in play. Again, I just think we need to test Future Focused out more in game. In terms of skills, Seithr's base kit is totally fine if you don't plan to spend on other things. Still Water and Chill Attack and Res can help Future Focused, but you could go further with any flat res Sacred Seals. Fury isn't bad if you just want some bonus attack. There's also going to be Phantom Resistance, which I think should work with it. This is definitely a situation where you want all the extra resistance insurance to ensure you win the res check. For combat, Seithr is going to have a 2 cooldown Iceberg. You can go with Heavy Blade to charge it faster, maybe swap to Glaciers as well. She can also run Glimmer, Moonbow, or Ruptured Sky on that 1 cooldown. In the B slot, if you don't care for the chill skill, you could go for Fartre's Kanto. That's totally fine. Low attack and res is another option, and Desperation does work with it too. For A skills, as long as you rely on Future Focused, I would keep Still Water. Overall, perfectly fine for a unit, decent damage capabilities, but it's Future Focused that everyone is really unsure about. If you do not plan to summon or just don't have orbs, then look forward to our next Grand Hero Battle unit, Hans. He is surprisingly pretty good. That will be it for this banner breakdown, and let me know your thoughts on the new heroes. The banner will be out with the next reset, and Book 7 officially kicks off then. Personally, I want that Ophelia. I love that I can fodder off her arcane weapon, but still get to use her. Thank you for watching, good luck on your own summons, and I will see you in the next video.